Henry Dearborn was a Revolutionary War soldier who moved to what is today Maine after the war. He stuck with the Maine militia for the next few years. Then George Washington appointed him as the first U.S. Marshal of Maine.
In his role as marshal, he then carried out the first federal execution. Dearborn hanged Thomas Byrd, who had been convicted of murder on the high seas. Keep in mind, this was the year 1790, and reports from that time say 3,000 or 4,000 people turned out to watch the execution. People love true crime stories. Well, 235 years later, these stories tend to be shared through podcasts.
One woman from Newport has turned her passion for sharing these stories into a business. Here's Dawn Kerrigan with her story.
Murder is as old as humanity. Since biblical times, when Cain killed Abel, people have shared stories of murder.
This is the wild saga of the serial killer you've probably never heard of, James Rodney Hicks.
Kristen Seavey is now making a career from that crime through her podcast, Murder, She Told.
I think if we're talking like full episodes, there's almost 130.
Kristen grew up here in Newport, graduated from Nokomis High School, then went to New York, where she had been working as an actress until COVID hit 5 years ago.
I really liked podcasting. It just felt like a natural extension of my storytelling. And I also had nothing else to do, so I started researching all of these cases in Maine.
Kristen admits she had been a fan of true crime stories for years.
I started watching Unsolved Mysteries as a kid, and it kind of just like went from there. And I'm an avid researcher, so it just one thing led to another.
And just over 4 years ago, the podcast Murder, She Told was born. The first case, that notorious local story of Maine serial killer James Hicks.
It's the story of 3 innocent women who got caught in a deadly web they couldn't escape, and a killer who, if it weren't for his own actions, might have gotten away with his crimes.
It's a fascinating case, and it's a terrifying case.
And the podcast included what's become a trademark, details of the victims and their lives told as much as possible by their own families. You want to talk to them about something pretty darn sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
How was that received?
I feel like I've gotten really lucky with the people that, especially like early on, like now I have a body of work that I can point to, but people just trusted me. And I think I don't take that lightly because I know that this is really hard to talk about, and the people that we're talking to haven't really talked about a lot of these things in the capacity that they're talking to me.
She says the response was strong from the beginning and has grown as more stories have been told episode by episode. How many people are listening to this?
We have thousands all over the world, which kind of blows my mind that, you know, someone in Australia is listening to a story from Newport, Maine. You know, like these stories just have, I think, universal appeal.
Stories from Maine at first, but now also New England and some from beyond. Many of them unsolved or cold cases. Some are familiar to us, like little Ayla Reynolds, now missing more than 13 years. Some are known only to family and a few police officers, like Danielle Bertolini, who grew up in Maine with Kristen and was murdered in California in 2014.
At 23 years old in 2014, she went missing in Humboldt County, California. For years, I followed her case on Facebook through the family's updates.
We're doing really deep archival work, like we are searching for everything that's been published that we can find on the case, which includes like microfilm. It includes a bunch of different databases that have newspaper coverage. If police records are available, like I'll request those. If court records are available, we'll get that. Like I could just feature Maine cases weekly and never run out of content.
Tragedies and mysteries from real life that she and thousands of listeners find irresistible.
Don Kerrigan with that story. Kristen, by the way, has a team of 5 other people around the country who help her dig for details.
So many details to go through, and she can't do it all herself because she oftentimes is working out of state as an actress. You can find Murder, She Told on all podcast platforms. She's also featured in our own true crime special, Maine's Unsolved, and you can find that for free right now on News Center Maine Plus app for your television.